Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to move on to this second part of the Food Facts program. The Food Facts program is obviously what we teach people during their first week when they're residents with us at Team Bootcamp or on the Conquer Food program. So it may be new to you if you haven't been and stayed with us. If not, it's very, very good revision. The second part of the Food Facts framework is O, which stands for Organise Your Eating. And I don't know anybody really who has got control of their weight, have got control of their food addiction, their sugar addiction, have broken free of using food as other stuff. By that I mean, are you using it as a crutch? Are you using it as a self-soother? Are you using it to mask other stuff? Are you using it to deflect other things that's going on in your life? I know nobody really. I can't think of anybody that's broken free of all those things or any of those things without getting some kind of organisation around their eating. Now, this it sounds like a really easy step to do because logically it makes sense. But we know that we don't all do things based on logic. We do things based on emotion. I always tell that story of think about when you broke up with your ex and you're like, logically you're like, I'm not going to text him. No, I'm not going to get in touch with him or all like that. And then, you have a couple of drinks, gets late at night, you start watching a romantic movie or whatever, and you're like, you know what? And then emotionally something triggers action, and before you know it, you've texted him or whatever, and logic screaming out to you, don't do it, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. But emotion is much more powerful. So this can be a tough step at first, but like with everything, the law of emotion, which I've spoke about before, dictates that the more you do something, the easier it gets. The more you do something, the more you get to like it until eventually you love it. And you only have to do something you don't want to do for as long as it takes for you to want to do it. And a prime example of this is Paula. So, we know Paula has struggled with her food for a very, very long time. And then, what seems like suddenly, but actually it was over a process of a long time, she got it. She completely got it. So something went in her head and she completely got it. And now she has a series of default meals, default snacks, default places where she eats. She's got some organisation to her eating. And therefore, it's much more in control. She's much more proactive into what she's eating, and therefore she reaps the benefits in her body image, in her happiness, her thoughts and emotions, and all that kind of stuff. She's gone from like a life full of friction around food where she's really struggling to a life where she's very much in control. She dictates what she eats. She's in control of it. The food is not in control of her. She finds pleasure in other things. No longer, well, that's not wrong. She still finds pleasure in food, but it's just not the same crap, calorie-laced, chemical-ridden food that she was eating before. It's much cleaner. It's much more vibrant, full of vitamins and minerals that her body needs, giving her the right amount of energy in the right way at the right time, and it's just better all round. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to try and really work on organising your eating so that you can be proactive. You can be in control. And I want you to remember that it's not what we do occasionally that counts, right? What's happening the majority of the time when you're struggling with food is consistently you're eating crap food, and occasionally you're eating good quality food or food that's giving you the right messages, the right calorific content, the right vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff. We need to flip that so that consistently we're eating clean. Consistently we're eating food that's given us everything that we need. Everything we need so that you can be nude and be happy. Occasionally then we can break free and we can have some crap and all that kind of stuff. And I say that, Paula makes a big thing, and I completely agree with her. There are two types of people. There's those that can kind of moderate what they're doing, the crap stuff that they're doing, and those that are just, similar to like an alcoholic. If they have one drink, it just turns the world upside down. They cannot afford to have a single hiccup because it just throws everything else out, you know. And if they're very, very honest, they know that. All right, and some people are like that with food and sugar and chocolate and all these kinds of foods. You know, they have one little bit and it just completely turns, you know, they just slot back into their old ways, and it's pretty destructive. So, you know, what kind of person are you? So the point is, what I want you to do is I want you to concentrate on what you're doing consistently. You know, what are you doing 5 or 6 days out of 7? What are you doing, you know, 3 or 4 meals and snacks out of 5? You know, what are you doing for, you know, 29 days out of the 31 days and all this kind of stuff? You know, it's what you're consistently doing. Because not everybody, because of life and because of other factors, can completely live like a bloody Buddhist monk or whatever, you know, living on good quality food, virgin olive oil, crushed by 1,000 virgins in the hills of the Dolomites or whatever. Okay, we just rarely can we actually do it. You know, there's got to be a time when you have a little bit of a break or something happens and all this kind of stuff. And it doesn't really matter what you're doing occasionally if what you're doing consistently is serving you well. All right, and this is the point when it comes to organise your eating. Okay, so remember that. How do we kind of go about it? Well, I'm going to speak from experience here, because when I was losing weight and I was finally getting control of food and all that kind of stuff, I basically created these default meals. Now, if I sort of fast forward, here's a link. You can search it up on the Team Bootcamp website and watch these default meals. Or if I just scoot back here to the Conquer Food dashboard, down the bottom here you can access your little default meals. So if you click on this, okay, the same videos are here. So as you can see, what we've got is we've got some default breakfasts, a couple of default breakfasts. We've got some snack ideas, stir fry and Thai green curry. These were my default meals when I finally started to get control of food. Okay, and you know, what I wanted to do is I wanted to encourage you to come up with your own default meals. A couple of default breakfasts, a couple of default snacks, a couple of default evening meals, a couple of default evening little snacky snooze, whatever you want, but you need to plan it ahead when you're free of emotion, okay? So that it's in your head, you kind of know what you're going to do when the time comes for you to have something to eat. And it might be that you have a default meal for different situations. So it's like, okay, I'm out and about, I can feel my blood sugar dropping a little bit, I need something to eat, what am I going to have? You know, I'm at a social event, yada yada, or I'm going out to eat somewhere, what am I going to have? Okay, and we're going to talk a lot about that, about how you kind of do that. First and foremost, let's think about it. Let's be realistic. It's got to fit in with, you know, with your lifestyle. It's got to fit in with your budget. It's got to fit in with your likes and dislikes. There's no point going, you know what, I'm going to have frittata every time I have breakfast. If you hate the taste of frittata, it's unrealistic. You're not going to do it because, you know, you don't kind of like it. Now, my criteria, and I want you to create or think about a bit of a criteria for you. My criteria was, first and foremost, I wanted things that was cheap, right? Relatively cheap within my budget, because I'm a tight northern monkey. You know, I didn't want to spend a fortune on food if I didn't have to. Okay, so it had to be relatively cheap. It had to be really easy to do because I don't actually enjoy cooking. All right, I don't enjoy cooking at all. So within a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, you know, 10 minutes or whatever, but I want to be banging out this food pretty quick. You might love cooking. You might love preparing food and going out and getting your fresh ingredients and all that kind of stuff. And if you do, that's fine. You know, just create your criteria, something that's going to work for you. And remember, something that's going to work for you when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you've had a shit day at work, when you've had a great day at work, when you better get rushed off your feet, when you've got to sort the kids out, something that's really easy for you to do. Okay? It's got to fit in with your lifestyle. Okay? So like I said, if your meal timings are pretty rushed, if you've got a tiny little kitchen, if you've got the kids running around, if you know you're grabbing something on the way to the work, if you're on a commute or whatever, and breakfast is literally, you know, get yourself in the coffee shop and away you go. You know, what is your lifestyle? And let's find things that can slot into your lifestyle. Not, you know, you're not trying to barge these things in because they're the best case scenario, because it's just unrealistic. It's not going to happen. All right. So start relatively small and just keep nudging away until you get all these stuff in order. It's got to be realistic. It's got to fit into your lifestyle, and therefore you're going to create your little criteria. So my criteria for these meals were, like I said, cheap, very quick, easy to do. All right, and tasty. So that I enjoyed them. So let's look at this breakfast number 2 here. Bacon and eggs, which brilliant. So I had a little griddle pan, barely any oil in there. I'd fry up a few mushrooms, get some bit of lean bacon in there, and I'd grill the lean bacon. Throw a couple of eggs in, and away we go. It's literally 5 or 6 minutes to bang this out, and I would enjoy it. What I'd also do is I'd have like a bed of lettuce. All right, and I know some of you like lettuce for breakfast, but why not? We've got to get some carbohydrate and fibre from somewhere. I used to have a bed of lettuce, couple of rashers of bacon, couple of eggs on top, and some mushrooms, and I loved that breakfast. I really did. I loved it when the yolk was running down the bacon and all this kind of stuff. So that's that one. I also used to do an omelette. Dead easy, and no fuss. I'd literally chop a load of veg. What I used to do is I had a vegetable box next to the cooker. I don't do any of this now because we have a chef. We're very, very fortunate, but vegetable box next to the cooker, all different vegetables in there. All right, and I literally used to get the frying pan there, a little bit of olive oil. Don't get the temperature too high. I chop up bits of pepper, mushroom, onions, as you can see on the screen. Okay, throw a load of spinach in there, fry it off a little bit. Okay, couple of minutes whilst I'm mixing my eggs up. Throw the eggs in, and I'd make an omelette, and it's as simple as that. And it might not always look amazing, but it's giving me everything that I want. Everything I need, everything that I enjoy. Okay, and I've just sort of picked up on what it's saying down here, to trump willpower. Basically, if we don't organise our eating, if we don't take control, we're going to rely on willpower, right? And willpower fails. Yeah, it just, willpower will only get us so far. And, there's been loads of study on willpower and all this kind of stuff. But, in my experience, what you need is you need some routine, you need some discipline. And you want to be running programs in your mind instead of being completely reactive to what's going on. Okay, and as you can see, with the default meals, you can have a little scratch through and see the other ones for some ideas. And what I hope to do is get much more in here in the future. There's also a little bit of an introduction where we talk a little bit more about nutrition and what a balanced meal is, and willpower. We talk about willpower as well. So it's a great little video. If you've not watched that already, then make sure you do. Okay, anything else on my notes that I need to talk about? Basically, what I want you to do, I want you to go from disorganized and highly reactive, as many people are. You get yourself you leave breakfast to chance, you're out, you're commuting, you get into a coffee shop. Before you know it, you've got a calorie-laced coffee drink and a muffin, and that's your breakfast, and no wonder, we're carrying excess weight, we're unhealthy, we've got health problems, irritation of the gut, inflammation, all these kind of stuff, because we're being completely reactive. I want you to take charge from here on in, because it's up to you. Nobody's going to do this for you. We have a rule at camp when the residents come to camp that you have no right to complain unless you're doing something about it. Here's your opportunity to do something about this food. Do something about your image. Do something about your health, because your body is the only place you've got to live. All right, you either take charge of this stuff now and you take responsibility for it, or the marketing, the food marketing industry, the fast food industry, the supermarkets will fuck you up. And I know that's, sorry, I'm not sorry for swearing. I really want to strike this home because, I get lots of people coming and speaking to me when I'm coaching them, and, it's like they're a victim of this conspiracy to make them fat. And there is no conspiracy. They're not hiding this thing. They want you to be fat. They want you to eat this food. They want you to have all this crap food, and they'll package it up in all sorts of different ways in order to get you to eat it. Scientists will work out exactly where they need to place it, when they need to place it, at what price, so that you buy it and you eat it and you get fat and it's not serving you. Only when you take charge of this and you grip it, all right, and you make it your bitch do you suddenly start to take control of your image, your health, your future, and all this kind of stuff, all the things that you want. Okay, so here's your opportunity now. To get started with this, think about your criteria, list it out, start thinking about your default meals that you can put together, okay? Or another part of my criteria was the ingredients had to be really easy to get, all right? So, because I didn't want to be scratching around for certain ingredients, and I wanted to be able to do it with through a couple of handfuls of things together, and that is it. All right, so whatever you come up with, share it in the Facebook group. I'll be really keen to hear what your default meals are, how you're doing with them. If you want ideas, post in the group and let's see what other people are saying. Try and encourage a bit of interaction there and learn from each other, learn from your peers. Huge part of this program is the input you get and the feedback you get from your peers. So I hope you enjoyed this little Organise Your Eating module. And next, we're going to move on to the next part, the next O, which is one big hitter at a time. Okay, which is another great module. Okay, so I'll see you in this next.